channel. So today is the second part of the Open Weather app. Today we are going to show the database connection and API call. But before starting with database connection, I like to mention something. In previous part, I forgot to mention this. So in Tkinter, you can also create checkbox or radio button. So the process of creating checkbox is similar to creating label or entry or button. Here the few parameter are different. Like in checkbox, you provide the window text as usual and a variable. Instead of text variable, you provide variable. So in variable, you declare the variable name, and you have to declare the variable here. So after that, on value means when this checkbox is checked, what will be the value of this variable you mention, and of value, what will be the value of this variable. So suppose if this checkbox is checked, then value will be like yes. If not checked, then value will be no. Remember, value will be no. So this is for the check button and radio button. Radio button is similar, but here you have mentioned the variable name, but here you have mentioned the value, and the value, if this radio button is selected, the language value will be English. If this radio button is selected, then language value will be Hindi. So let's see how it looks. So yeah, so mainly it looks like this. So you can change the color, background color. So that's it for this. Then moving to the database connection. So first, register. User have to register first. So in register, you have to this function, you will create a one window that takes the first name, last name, email ID, whatever you want to save in database, you can put there. So to save some time, I'm just copying and paste this function. So as you see, this register function is called from here, from this button. Okay, so just copy this portion. Special about this, you can easily create this. So here we just declaring this first name, last name, email, this variable, whatever we are going to use here to store in database. So here you provide the level of first name, then you provide the entry of first name and storing the value, text variable value in first name. So this is the same thing. And after that, after collecting all the data, you are implementing two buttons. One is register and one is cancel. So whenever register button is clicked, you are calling one function. So this function pass that values whatever we get from this window. So we are passing this value and just background color. So that's all. And if user create cancel, then this window will be destroyed. So the destroy property is called here. So this R window, register window will be destroyed. So now we have not declared this function. That's why this error is coming now. So let's declare the function. So we have to declare it over this function. So I'm declaring it here. What is the name? DB connect register. Just copying this, copying the whole thing. Mhm. So here we are also passing this R window, register window here. So now what we need to do? So first of all, we have to get the string value from this variable. For that, fname equals to first name dot get. So that's in that way we will declare. So I'm just copying. So after that, here we declare one function that is encrypt password. So encrypt password, it is doing, we should not store the text password in our database. It should be hashed. So what it is doing, it is returning the hashed password value. So in this function, we are importing the crypt context. In crypt context class, you will define the schemas, means what algorithm this class can support. So we are instantiating this script context class. While instantiating, we are providing the schemas what this script context can support. Then we are declaring the default value among this algorithm. So this script context can support SA 256, MD5 or DES. So we are setting this default value and we are providing the default rounds. So after that we are hashing our password. We are passing this password here and we are hashing, and here we don't mention the default schema, so by default it takes the SHA-256. After that we are returning this and we are we will store this value in our database. So we are going to make the database connection. So in database connection, we can get some error. So we want to handle the error. For that, we will write the code under try catch block. So in as I mentioned, for database connection, Python has different connector for different database. So for MySQL, it has MySQL connector. So in this project, we will use MySQL database. So uh, let's start. First, we have to create the connector. For that, MySQL dot connector dot connect method dot connect. So this is a function in this package. So first it will take the, in this you have to specify the host. What is the host name? So in this case it is local host. Then you have to specify the username. So user ID is root. Then you have to specify password. So you have to specify the user and the password. So I'm not going to type the password here. So I have written the password in the line. Uh, so in the pwd file, I have written the password. So I'm reading from the file. For that, Python has open method. So in open method, you don't need to import any library. So just mention the file name pwd.txt and the mode, or you can skip it also. So it will pass file. So after that, you have to read the file. That is the pass. I'm declaring this variable as pass. So pass file dot read line. So it will read the line one by one from the password. So currently password we have only the password. So it will store this value here in this string. So here I am going to mention the pass. Okay. So now we got the connector. So I'm mentioning it connector. Now we have to get the cursor. It is quite similar to JDBC connection from Java. So after getting connector, you have to get the cursor. Now, using this cursor execute method, you have to execute the command. So before executing the command, you have to write the command first. So I'm just copying the commands. So here, first command is so the first we are using the database used open with a store. I have created one database in my database, MySQL database. So after that, you are creating the table if not exist the user table. You are defining all the columns and their size, data type. After that, you insert one row in the database. So in user table, you are inserting one row. So after that, you are mentioning the argument. So here you mention the values. This value is referred in the argument. So you have to pass this argument. In argument, you are capturing the first name, last name, email, like this. So it will be fname. Mhm. After that, you are using the execute method of cursor. In execute method, you are providing the query, simply passing that query string value. After that, you are commenting. Then what actually it should work now. So I'm just testing one thing. Let's run this code and click the register button and some error. It is not indent. Okay, so one important thing. So here you open the cursor and connector. So in finally block, you have to close this cursor. First cursor dot close. then connector dot close. It should be so. Let's register. Save. Okay. Now see whether in database. See, the entry has been created in the database. So the password is hashed here. So I think it's okay. So after that, if someone register, they should get one window that you are registered or something. So for that, we have to create one more window. So in this case also, I'm just copying. And also, we have to declare this exception. If some exception occur, then we have to mention this. And after commit, so after commit, we have to destroy the register window. So now we see that after register also this window is appearing, which should not be the case. So we have to destroy this window and we have to create one new window printing the success message. So let's copy this, because if I am going to write this, it will take more time. So in the success window, we are just mentioning that you have successfully registered in open weather. After that, you are providing one OK button. That button will destroy the newly created window. So let's see once, then we'll move on to login. So let's put something. So like this, it will come, and as you see, the register window is destroyed. And if you clear on OK, then this window will also destroy. After this, we should concentrate on login. So in login, what will happen? In login, we will search in the database with the provided email ID, and we'll check whether there is any entry for this email ID, and we will also bring the password of that entry. If the password is matched with the provided password, in this case, the password will be hashed. So we will get the hashed uh, value of the password. So we have to first uh, make another function to verify the password. So just to verify the password, we are defining one check password method. So in the check password, we are doing the same thing, the field context. We are instantiating this object. Then we are using verify instead of using hash. We are using verify, and in verify we are passing the password provided in the login screen and the database password. So in we are calling this from the login method, providing the password we get from database. So again, we have to connect to the database in same way. So again, I'm copying because the code is not small. It will take time. So now I'm explaining this login user ID. So I have to change the name here. So we are getting the username and password, the string value here, and same way we are getting the connector. Then in the cursor, after getting the cursor, we are selecting the query. So we are selecting with the email ID. We are doing the query in the database where email ID is the provided email ID. So in argument, we are providing the email ID. So then the same way cursor dot execute to select the database, and then cursor dot execute to execute this select query. and we are fetching the data, and we are checking whether this is count equals 1. So email ID is unique in the database, and we should get only one email ID, or we should not get any email ID at all. So after that, we are just looping the record. So ideally there should be only one record. So in that we are getting the first column. So here in select query we get a list of columns. Here there is only one column, which is password, and we are getting it by using the zero index. Then we are checking whether this password is matching with the password provided or not. So here we are checking, and if this method return true, if the verify method return true, then we are allowing for login. Then if uh, we after login, we are calling one function. So in that function again we will call one window. So we'll create one window inside this function, asking the city name, or else we are sending some failure message here. And if the we are same thing is doing in this else also. So in that case password is not matching. In that case we don't find any username with this email ID. So two different message are printed here. So let's create the open weather page function. Now here what we are doing, we are just creating one window asking for city name. So again I am copying, just copying. This is the same thing. You know how to create the window. So nothing special here. We are just creating one window asking for the enter the city name. So when the after providing city name, user need to click on check. So in the check button, we are calling one more function, get weather. So this is the important function where we are calling the API. So let's define the get weather. So first thing we have to do is to import one package called request. So this package can parse the data from basically it can create one HTTP request, and through this package we can get the response also. So there is one method in request dot get. Here we have to provide the URL where the from where we will get the response. So before proceeding here, I just like to give the open weather website and give how to get the API. So let's type open weather API. Okay, sorry. So first of all, you have to create one account in open weather. I have already created my account. So after signing in, you will get one API key. So for that, you have to go here, your account page, and you have to go to the API key tab. So here you will get your API key. After that, you have to go to the API. All the thing is not free. This is free. Current weather data is free. So you can go to price tag and check what is free and how much money you have to pay if you want to use some other feature. So in API doc, inside API, you will get the detailed document how you can get the data by JSON format or XML format or HTML format. So for this, suppose this, so if you type this URL, so you will get the JSON data of London. So here Q is equal to London, and you can also search with city ID. You can also search with latitude, longitude. You can also search with zip code, and uh, here you can also search with rectangular zone. So you can read this, and whatever if API if you want to call, you can call. So after that, so one thing, like you can get this kind of format in JSON, and you can also get in XML. And here you can format which format you want to get. Suppose temperature you want to get in Celsius or Fahrenheit. So for that, what you have to do, or you want to get the XML format or JSON format. For that, you have to write mode. Mode is equal to XML or mode is equal to HTML. By default, mode is JSON, so you don't have to mention that. And metric, so in metric If you want centigrade temperature, use unit equals matrix, like provide one and here and unit equals matrix. And if you want to for 1 Fahrenheit, then unit it equals to imperial. So you can read this API and you can do whatever you want. So currently I am calling this API this API. So let me explain this API URL. Here Q, here we are providing the second bracket because we want to replace it with city, the selected city here. And then matrix units equals matrix will get centigrade temperature. And app ID, here you have to mention your key, API key. Okay. So first we have to get the city. So how can we get the city? Mhm. Here you have mentioned the selected city here. So let me pass this. First we have to get the string value. Then we have to pass this in format. Now pass this URL in get and you will get the data. As I have not mentioned any mode, so it will be by default in JSON format. So let's print the data. So it is not printing properly. So one thing I think uh, I have forgot. You have to yeah, for that data equals to JSON. So here you get the JSON format data. Now let's format this. So because it is not looking good, we cannot understand from this because it is single lined. If I process this, so something is wrong. Hmm. So as you see, this format is like the first the whole thing in the second bracket, then inside this second bracket there is some entry like dictionary. So inside the dictionary there is another dictionary. So it's basically Python dictionary. So you can get this. So if you want the coordinate, so what you have to write, data under third bracket coord. So let's try. Latitude, data, third bracket. So inside that we have latitude and longitude. So how can we get latitude? Again, we have to provide third bracket, then lat. In the same way, you, we can get the longitude. So let's try. We have to run again. So you see, you get the latitude and longitude value. In the same way, you can get the description, main description, and temperature, current temperature, what is the highest temperature, what is the minimum temperature, what is the humidity. So to get the temperature, what you have to do? You have to go to main. So in the first, in the third bracket, first provide the main, then under in the second third bracket you provide the max temperature, mean temperature, humidity. So like this, you can get the wind here. So one thing is that in main this temperature pressure are directly mentioned, but inside the weather there is another second bracket, means there is one another element. So if you get want to get the main, then you have to go to weather first. Third bracket mention weather, then mention 0 because this is the zeroth element here. Then inside this mention the main. So like this, like this. 0, then main. So we're done basically. So here you have to first check whether the response is 200 or not. It's a successful response or 404 or something error code will be written if it is not successful response. So first check this and then just print this, make an window and show this value in that window, and else you mention the city not found. So let's just copy this because this is the same thing. Let's run some error. Okay, I have changed the variable name, so it should be scd. Good. Now so this error is basically it cannot, some data it cannot encode. So that's why this error is coming. So it was not taking the degree value. So that's why this error was coming. I don't know why. Here I have mentioned that degree centigrade. So it's not taking this. I don't know why. So let's run this. Try and check. So it's done. So you get all the details here. So for today, our session is done. So have a nice day. Bye.